Sony just had a mask off moment this week, and you are going to be the one to feel the consequences of it, because as of today, Sony just said the quiet part out loud. You don't own your games, you never did, and they're finally done pretending otherwise. You see, PlayStation did 3 things this week, and all 3 of them make your gaming experience flat out worse. I mean, really, there's just no way to cherry coat this. First, they started reaching into people's digital libraries and deleting movies. So we're not talking about rented movies or movies on streaming services. These are movies people bought and paid for, and they are gone. They got no refund and no apology. Then they announced that physical discs, the only way for you to kind of own your media, are going away permanently. Yes, really. It's like they saw the popularity of the stop killing games movement and said, no, start killing games. And then, almost in a poetic fashion, they quietly announced they are shutting down an entire console's digital store, exactly like they tried to do once before. Oh, and the PlayStation 6, the console meant to be the future of PlayStation after all of this, new leaks prove it'll cost at least $1,000, and that's for the budget option. So let's just jump right in and examine how it's even possible that PlayStation was able to nuke its reputation into oblivion not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row. Really quick, you guys want to know a secret? This video is going to be dislike bombed to oblivion by PlayStation fanboys who think that Sony can do no wrong ever, even whilst getting spit in the face. So do me a favor, drop a thumbs up down below to help me fight off those dislikes so I can keep bringing you guys the latest breaking news in the gaming industry without sugarcoating things and just telling the truth, how it's actually going. Let's start with the latest breaking news from this morning. This was posted by PlayStation themselves over on their blog. Physical disc production ending in January of 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. 2,400 comments on a blog post. What year is it? 2006? In response to shifting trends and consumer preference, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. There's no subtext here, there's no fine print or anything. They're just coming out and saying it. As of 2028, physical discs are gone. They're done with them. They're not doing it anymore for new games on PlayStation 5 and for the future of PlayStation, which is presumably the PlayStation 6. And they cite consumer trends, by the way, and technically they're right. Something like 78% of games purchased for PlayStation consoles last quarter were digital purchases. Okay, but when we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, 22% of your market is still buying physical, and so 22% of hundreds of millions of dollars is still hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue that you're missing here. Okay, so let's see what they have to say here. As consumer preferences in the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. So that is like code in a box. This transition has no impact on games that already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. So the PlayStation 6 is probably not going to have a disc drive. If this is their strategy here, they will simply just not do it. I mean, there's no point, right? This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. That's right, nearly a quarter of you who still buy physical games, they just spit in your face directly, and if you're defending them, just open your mouth so they can do it again. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether it's at retailers or PlayStation Store. So this was objectively the only way that you could actually buy and own a copy of a video game that you wanted to play, right? I mean, as you guys know, I have physical media on this shelf. I love physical media and I buy it almost exclusively. Okay, almost, the very few exceptions to that rule. And the reason for that is because I want to own the games regardless of what happens to the digital landscape. So whether my account gets hacked and I lose access to my account, which therefore I would lose access to all my games, or whether there's licensing disputes, which we'll talk about later in this video, that cause PlayStation to delete my own content that I paid before, which is insane that they can even legally do that. It's in the terms and conditions. That's how they get away with it. Or simply if I want to sell the games that I buy later down the line to get back some of the money I spent, that's why I buy physical media. It is just, in my opinion, objectively, if we're talking about the PlayStation, it is objectively the best way to buy media. The only downside being that you have to put the disc in the console for it to play, which is like the 30 seconds it takes to put the disc into the console, I think is a perfectly reasonable price to pay for all of the upsides of physical media. And the idea that Sony or PlayStation could just come in and revoke the licenses to games that you've already purchased is not a theoretical one. It's not hypothetical. It is the actual current reality, and in fact happened this week. It literally happened this week with Sony specifically. Okay, like the timing here could not be worse for them to make them look absolutely diabolical. Like they actually just look like an evil corporation doing this. But look at this: Studio Canal affected titles legal notice from September 1st 2026. Due to our content licensing agreements, you will no longer be able to access your previously purchased content from Studio Canal, and it will be removed from your video library. Thank you, PlayStation Store. So there are over 500 movies and titles here from Studio Canal that are being removed from users' digital libraries, point blank, period. They simply, there's no refund, there's nothing you can do. They just, you paid them for it and now you get nothing. That's what is happening here. They're giving you about a 2-month heads up. All right, so we literally live in a timeline where on one hand Sony's saying, hey, all this stuff that you paid for, we're taking it away, you get no refund, and that's it, period. You don't even have legal recourse. There's nothing you can even do. You gave us your money, we're keeping it, and you get nothing now. Okay, and then in the same breath they said, by the way, that's what we're gonna do for the future of video games. That's what they said. There's no other way that you could like do some mental gymnastics to cherry coat this or anything like that. Like that is, they just announced it. That's what this says. This is objectively, they said, yeah, physical disc is going away. Okay, so digital media is the only future for gaming on PlayStation. That period, right? All new video games that come out, that's it. It's digital only, which means it is subject to the exact same removal as we see with these movies. This is not some abstract apples to oranges thing. It is quite literally a one-to-one comparison. What you see happening with movies can and will happen to games later down the line. If you don't believe me, go and play The Crew, okay, the first one. Now, the removal of users' movies that they paid for has been making headlines lately. As you can see here, IGN covered it, saying Sony is deleting movies owned by PlayStation users. List includes more than 550 digital titles, and people are not happy about this over on X or Twitter. This user literally just shared a screenshot of the email that they got from PlayStation themselves, saying, as of September 1st, due to our content license agreements, you will no longer be able to watch any of your previously purchased Studio Canal content, and the content will be removed from your video library. And the user highlights the words previously purchased. Okay, if this isn't the absolute best example of the phrase that, hey, listen, if you know the phrase, write it in the comments down below. Okay, I know you know the phrase, drop it in the comments below, say it with me now. If buying isn't owning, pirating isn't stealing. That phrase has aged like fine wine, ladies and gentlemen. And look, I'm not telling you to commit crimes. I do not condone any illegal activity, but gosh, it sure is feeling like a lot of people are probably going to go down that path. I mean, when companies have zero respect for paying customers, why should paying customers have any respect for their policies? Fuck that. Do whatever you want. But here's where this gets even crazier. Okay, PlayStation actually lied about this. They straight up lied to their consumers, because this is a post that they shared in March of 2021. PlayStation Store to discontinue movie and TV purchases and rentals. At Sony Entertainment Interactive, we strive to provide the best entertainment experience for PlayStation fans, and that means evolving our offerings as customers' needs change. We've seen tremendous growth from PlayStation fans using subscription-based and ad-based entertainment streaming services on our consoles. With this shift in consumer behavior, we have decided to no longer offer movie and TV purchases and rentals through PlayStation Store as of August 31st 2021. When this change takes effect, this is the important part, okay, users can still access movie and TV content they have previously purchased through PlayStation Store for on-demand playback on their PS4 and PS5 mobile devices, period. No asterisks, no fine print, no funny business. Okay, they said after August 31st, 2021, users can still access movie and TV content you previously purchased through PlayStation Store. We thank our fans for their continued support, blah, blah, blah. That is just, it's just objectively not true. They don't care about you, okay? So on one hand, back in 2021, they say, hey, don't worry, you're not gonna be able to buy anything anymore, but everything you did buy, you'll still get access to. And then, oh, 2026 comes around, just kidding. All the stuff that you did buy from Studio Canal, it's gone forever, right? So on one hand, they say, you'll have everything, and now they said it's gone. So they literally, objectively, again, I don't know, there's no way to sugarcoat this. I don't know how, and I almost feel bad for the PlayStation fanboys, right? Because they are going to try to come to their defense. They're going to white knight for Sony like they always do, but this is point blank indefensible. It is written on their own website. There's no spin here. There's no agenda from me. I don't care what you buy. I don't care if you love Sony or PlayStation or Microsoft. This is the objective reality we live in. They said they wouldn't take away the stuff that you previously purchased, and then they did it 4 or 5 years later. That's what happened. That's just what happened. But it gets even worse, okay? And I don't know how could it possibly get even worse, but they figured out a way, okay? On the same day that they announced physical media was going away indefinitely, permanently, they announced they're shutting down the PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita, which they tried to do back in like 2021, and people fought them on it, okay? But now they're doubling down. They're going to do it. They're trying again this time, and this time they're going to do it, okay? Why does this matter? This matters not because people are still using the PlayStation 3 store. Maybe they are. Maybe there's a small handful of you. I don't know, okay? You can let me know in the comments if you've bought something on the PS3 store lately. But the reason that this matters is because this is the future. Like, they're literally showing you what's going to happen to the PS5 and PS6. Do you understand? Like, this is why I said earlier, this is not hypothetical or theoretical or apples to oranges. It's actually apples to apples. What's happening with the movies and TV shows is happening to gaming right now, okay? So, okay, it's not happening to the PS5 right now. It's happening to the PS3. And then guess what? Let's use a little bit of logic. Okay, let's extrapolate it into the future. What comes after PS3? PS4. That's right, folks. And then what happens after the PS4? The PS5. That's right. They delete the store from PS5. And then what happens after that? PS6. Okay, they eventually, this is what happens. Okay, and this is, you know, even if you are a brain dead troglodyte, you can see the trend here. Okay, the older consoles, they shut down the store. Okay, what happens when said console never got physical discs to begin with? Well, okay, you can't buy them from the store anymore, and you can't buy them at Target or Walmart or anything, and you can't buy them on eBay because there are no discs. They don't exist from day one. Then that means that any game you buy in the future, digital only, is gone forever once you lose access to that content. Okay, so since this is starting in January of 2028, that means whatever Call of Duty coming out at the end of 2028, which we know there will be one, Black Ops 10 or whatever it's going to be, all right, Modern Warfare 6, whatever they're going to release at that point. Okay, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 6 will be digital only on PS5 and future consoles. Okay, that's what this is. Modern Warfare 6 will be digital only in 2028. Okay, no discs will exist ever. They will never print it on a disc for PlayStation. That's it. It's done. Okay, so then the only copies of Modern Warfare 6 that exist ever will be on your hard drive of the PlayStation. Okay, that is the future we're going to be living in. Okay, now let's say you love Modern Warfare 6. I doubt it. Call of Duty hasn't been good in half a decade or longer, but let's say Modern Warfare 6 is really, really good. Okay, you play it in 2028, you love it. Fast forward to 2048, you're looking back with nostalgia, and you say, man, back in 2028, I loved Modern Warfare 6. That game was fantastic. Let me boot up my PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 6 and have a go at it, right? Have fun. Oh, turns out the internal storage of your drive is broken, or maybe your account got hacked and you don't have access to it anymore. Okay, well, no problem. I'll just download it from the store. Oh, well, we're in 2048. It turns out that the PlayStation 6 store is already offline. They already shut it down. Well, okay, let me go to eBay and just buy a copy of Modern Warfare 6. Oh wait, they never manufactured them to begin with. Do you see how bad this is for the future of gaming? This is literally, and I said this as a joke earlier, but this is start killing games. That's what this is. This is an initiative to ensure that all future games inevitably die permanently. That's it. Once the last hard drive with those games on it goes away, it's gone forever, and there's no discs to back it up. And with them announcing announcing that they're closing the PlayStation 3 store, they are also announcing subsequently, eventually, the store will be gone for the PS4, then the PS5, then the PS6. Do you see? I feel like I'm a kindergarten teacher spelling this out for people, but like it's been 10 years now of explaining the importance of physical media, and so many people still don't understand it. They think that it's some hypothetical, oh, it's just fear mongering. It's happening. What do you mean? It's right here. They're saying it point blank to your face. So just because it's not affecting you in this moment doesn't mean it won't definitely affect you in the future. It will, objectively. Now, before the PlayStation fanboys leave the comment, let me read this from the blog post. To ease the transition, players will still be able to download previously purchased content after the closing date for the foreseeable future. So that means if you did buy something, you'll still be able to re-download it into the foreseeable future. No worries. It's just new purchases that you won't have access to. And that's great for now, but let me remind you, in 2021, they said that you would still have access to all your TV shows and movies, and now they're taking them away. Okay, so again, they are setting their own precedent. They're showing you the future. They're saying eventually it will go away. Here is evidence of that. Okay, we can't trust them to do this right because they're already failing to do it. They are literally lying. They literally lied to you. Straight up, they lied to you. There's no other way to put it. So why should we trust this statement right here? This statement will be true for now. That's what foreseeable future means. For now, that will be true. And then once down the line, people forget about this. Oh, pull the plug. It's over. And again, that's not me guessing. I'm not painting them as the villain here. They're doing that themselves. They said that right here. And even if this is true, okay, let's assume that Sony is going to do their best here and they're not going to do what they've already proven to do, which is take your money and then take away the content later down the line. That still doesn't mean you're unaffected by this. I mean, it seems like at least once or twice a year, PlayStation Network is hacked and you lose your account. Okay, I mean, this was posted in May of this year. PSN account suffering new hack. You might be affected. Here's another from 2025. Okay, December 2025. Hacking a PSN account is actually quite easy thanks to Sony's lax security. Let's look at this one from March of 2026. Man spent $20,000 on PlayStation games. He lost it all to a security loophole. Scammers are exploiting a security gap in the PlayStation Network to hijack accounts. I hacked my own account in about 30 minutes. Here's what happened and why Sony's not helping. So again, we're not talking about hypotheticals here, okay? If you've paid any attention to gaming news at all over the last 10 years, you'll know that Sony gets hacked over and over and over again. I mean, just look at Mudahar's channel, Some Ordinary Gamers, or even I think Charlie Moist Critical. I think he's posted about this time and time again. Sony and PlayStation get hacked all the time, literally all the time. Okay, so what happens if your account gets hacked? You lose access to it permanently. Okay, great. I'll just go back onto the PlayStation 3 store and re-download my Jack and Daxter collection. Oh, can't do it because you can't buy it. It's gone forever. Now, luckily for the PS3, you could buy it on disc, and I know that because I am a ball knower confirmed. But for games that come out after January 2028, that will not be possible. Okay, you will simply lose content, whether it's because of licensing agreements, your account gets hacked, your hard drive gets fried, whatever the case is. That's what an all digital future means, period. Okay, now knowing all of that, how excited are you to spend over $1,000 on the next generation of PlayStation hardware? I know I'm not. Certainly, absolutely not. Why would I buy a PlayStation 6? First of all, no one's even asking for the next generation of consoles, by the way. I have never once heard somebody say, man, I can't wait for the PlayStation 6. No one's saying that because there's not even enough games on the PlayStation 5 yet. And that thing's been out for 6 years at this point. Okay, so the only argument for the PlayStation 6 is the fact that GTA 6 might only run at 30 frames per second on the PS5, which is embarrassing, by the way. So as Sony is getting more consumer unfriendly, they're jacking up the price of the future console that nobody's actually asking for in the first place. This article was posted by Tom's Guide. Okay, PS6 price could be in the same stratosphere as the Steam Machine based on new leak. Sony's next gen console won't be cheap. This was posted 2 days ago. If you hoped the PS6 would cost less than $1,000, I have some potentially bad news for you. According to a new leak, the PS6 currently costs $960 in materials to manufacture. Unless Sony is willing to sell the yet to be announced next generation consoles at a loss, the PS6 could cost as much as the equally pricey Steam Machine. The leak in question comes from Kepler K2, who has a decent track record of hardware leaks. Kepler claims that the BOM, or bill of materials, for the PS6 has jumped up by $200 since March of this year, where the console costs $760 to manufacture, it will now cost $960. The PS5 Pro saw a similar price hike, raising from $700 to $900 after 2 price increases. Unfortunately, the PS6 could cost even more to manufacture, and of course this is all due to the RAM crisis. I talked about this in recent videos, especially the one about Microsoft killing Xbox, because Microsoft is part of the reason why AI data center buildouts are so expensive. Okay, and mind you, PlayStation has come out and said that they are no longer interested in selling these consoles at a loss. Okay, that used to be the way things were back in the PlayStation 1 through PlayStation 4, maybe 5, I don't recall exactly, but what they would do is they would launch the consoles for break even or at a loss even, just to get people in the door and buying games, buying software, paying for subscription services, PlayStation Network, whatever the case might be. Okay, and then they make up that cost on the back end, right? But as the cost of software and gaming has gotten more and more and more expensive, they can't rely on people buying 15 games in their first year for whatever the next console is, because it's not even going to have 15 games to begin with. Let's just be honest with ourselves. So because they can't rely on that, they're not as willing to sell their consoles at a loss. Okay, so the PlayStation 6, it is all but confirmed that the entry level price will be a minimum of $1,000. It could easily be $1,200 depending on how they want to do this. Okay, so a minimum of $1,000 for a console that nobody is asking for, in the middle of Sony spitting on your face in 3 different directions all in the same week. Like, what are they thinking? What are they actually thinking? They are actually just nuking their reputation in the middle of an already collapsing gaming environment. Okay, I've covered it extensively on the channel here. Nobody is safe. Things are getting worse, and while they're getting worse, Sony is using this as an opportunity to personally make things worse for themselves. They're like, oh man, the collapse isn't happening fast enough, let's just speed that up a little bit, right? So based on Sony's recent financial reports, they're looking at the $108 billion that they made from physical media and just kissing it goodbye. They're saying, yeah, we don't want that anymore, we're good. And like, look, their digital revenue dwarfs that by 10x. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to be struggling financially because of this, but like, it's just crazy how at a time where everything is getting objectively much worse very fast, they're speeding up their own demise just by a little bit, just to really spit on the consumers and remind them that they own nothing. It's a bold move, I'll say that much. It is a bold move, and for people like myself who collect physical media, I'm not happy about this, frankly, and I just don't see a future where I'm buying the next PlayStation console nor the next Xbox, because I'm not even sure that's going to exist. And luckily for me, I've got enough games on this shelf to last me a lifetime anyway, so I'm Gucci, I'm good. It's not that big of a deal. So we'll have to wait and see if or how this will affect Sony and the PlayStation. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Is this a big deal, or are you okay with losing access to things you paid for? That sounds insane that there would be people comfortable with that, but apparently there are. And while you're down there, make sure you drop a thumbs up on the video. It really does help out the channel a ton. It helps more than you can even imagine, by the way, especially because this video is going to be dislike bombed by the PlayStation fanboys. So help me fight them off down there by dropping a like. And you might think you're subscribed to the channel because you've seen a ton of my videos, but you're actually not. Double check down below.